a while back, Riot Games, we may recall, had a bunch of alleged things happen in the workplace where it basically came out. I think was it originally a really big Kotaku article broke. I think that's what happened. And a bunch of women came forward and said that they were being discriminated against within Riot Games, and there were all kinds of these like crazy stories that came out, right? Like apparently there was like executives farted on their employees, and like there was like all this is like alleged, right? Like
farted on their employees?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude! Yeah.
One of the chief level like oldest fucking like founders of the company, right?
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah. Like, and then apparently there was like a lot of like nudes transferred between like people and stuff. So this went to a lawsuit, and it just favored it. It was a class action
knew
lawsuit.
That's why Alinity was not getting banned. And I'm just kidding. Just a fucking joke. Okay, move on. Keep going.
There's a class action lawsuit, and there's $10 million being paid out to the women who worked in the company in the last 5 years as part of the settlement. So if you were a woman that worked in the company in the last 5 years, you're going to get part of a $10 million settlement as a result of this case.
Jesus, dude.
Which is approximately 1,000 women.
Let me, before I jump to any conclusions, let me, there was a good amount of proof behind this, right? Concrete evidence. This wasn't just,
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
So the suit laid out allegations that Riot fostered a men-first bro culture where harassment and inappropriate behavior such as crotch grabbing, phantom humping, and sending unsolicited and unwelcome pictures of male genitalia, and managers circulating a hot girl list ranking female employees by attractiveness.
I'm gonna actually defend this side that's getting the settlement. You know, I think a lot of us, from an individual perspective, we say, "Oh, $10 million, great," but in reality, I think that the people that were harassed in this situation are actually getting shafted and not getting any justice. $10 million to a company that big is like me giving a fucking penny to someone right? Like that's $10,000 to each person, right? Like, what is that really?
For context, Riot Games spends about $800 million on just the production of the LCS per year.
Wait, no, it won't be. It won't be every single woman that's ever worked in the company. It can't be, because I'm sure that some of them signed like exit deals when they left the company, right? That means that they can't like sue the company or take any like further payments.
It just seems very insensitive, and
I mean, maybe they can. I don't know. I'm asking.
It seems
insensitive and it seems insensitive and unjust to just say, okay, well, we farted on a bunch of you, we did a lot of this stuff, we misbehaved, we're unprofessional, so here's $10,000 to shut the fuck up and move on. Like, that just sounds really fucking bad. Like, $10,000, like, after going through all that, like,
they didn't even fire the guy. You know that they didn't fucking fire the guy. The guy who farted on people. The guy who farted on people is so stacked up at the company that, like, I think they put him on.
What does he look like?
He's kind of tall. He's kind of tall. He's skinny. He's got blonde hair. He stutters a lot, and he
+1 to S-Fan. Let's get +1 to S-Fan, guys. Put him at. You know what? For that one, we'll do a +2 for making an XQC reference there. There was 14 for you, buddy.
Yeah, how did they distribute that? I mean, I didn't hear 10,000. I heard it was just 10 million that was awarded as a pool to all the women that work there. I don't know how they're distributing that or divvying that up. But
if you get farted on, you get extra. They give you bonuses. Like, oh, you got farted on, so here, I'll squeeze 20 at you. Like, you know, you just get 5 just for being there.
But on a serious note, how do you divvy that up? Yeah,
so the dollar amount will depend on each employee who self-identifies as a female will receive an amount depending on how long they worked for Riot. And full employees will receive more than contractors.
So what if you were there for only fucking 2 months, but you got farted on and you saw dick pics and shit that you didn't want to see, but you were only there for 2 months? You get the least amount of pay there? That's kind of sucks.
So wait a minute. You said a phrase very specific. You said self-identify as a female.
I did say that. Yes.
Is that in the article?
Yes. That's
so if you self-identify as a female, you does that get you into the pool?
Yes, it does.
There you go.
What if you didn't identify back then?
That's insane.
Does it apply retroactively?
Yeah, no,
well,
you can't.
Let's be careful. Let's be careful.
Yeah, like, you know, you literally can't. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I identified as a female this entire time, when you fucking probably put down like male if you even do that in your contract. Like, you can't just be like, oh yeah, I was a female this entire time. It doesn't work that way.
Speaking of the being farted on,
me.
speaking of the being farted on thing, you can tell which people in chat are tier 3 Patreon supporters of certain streamers because they're saying they get farted on for free. That's a +1 to 8. Thank you so much. All right, continue with the conversation.
But yeah, that's right, Steven. It is people that self-identify. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's California, right?
No dudes got farted on though. Like it was just only female.
No, dudes got farted on. No, dudes got farted on too. I'm pretty sure that like the guy who farted on people, it's like a fun thing that people mention. But the fart I think occurred dude on dude. Like I don't think the dude farted on girls. I think he farted on dudes.
Well, let's hold Twitch. Wait, hold on. Let's hold Twitch logic with that. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Yo, dude, suck it the fuck up. Are you kidding me, dude? Yo, +1 to me. Thank you. Give me it.
So that's actually really interesting. Like, no, I think it's kind of fucked up that like they were definitely fucking over the guys in that company too. But they're paying out. I mean, and if they're fucking over the guys, they're definitely fucking over the girls as well. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, like if that kind of workplace culture is like created. But yeah, I don't think any of the guys got anything. What about the dudes that got
not yet? I mean, not yet. I mean, there might be another suit in the works now at this point. If they've already paid $10 million out for that.
True.
You know, someone else sees the money signs, go, oh yeah, we can put a lawsuit together.
How bad does that guy feel? This farting costs $10 million.
Yeah, I think 10 mil sounds like a lot, like, you know, to us and to everyone in chat, right? But on the greater scope of things, it's literally the people in the company are looking at you like, yo, my man, hey, give me that clap. Let's go fucking have a nice bourbon and you know, marry our fucking 18-year-old wives, right? Like that's what it is. Like it's just super fucking weird. Like $10 million, $10,000 to each person, hypothetically speaking, right? Like. It's just
no 10,000 is the two highest that the two plaintiffs will receive. Jessica Negrin and Gabriella Downey are the two people that are getting 10,000, and that's the highest they're going to receive. So, like, or at least that's what it's saying on the article.
How did they come up with this number?
The number of farts.
What company is this?
This is Riot Games.
Oh, I like them a lot. Never mind. This is fucking stupid. Fucking social justice warriors, sensitive fucks. Just kidding. I'm totally fucking with you. But yeah, I mean,
they make so much money. They've made like, I mean, they make
how much do they make a
dollars.
second, dude?
In 2018 they made 1.7 billion, and in 2016 they had made 3 billion. So they're making a lot of money.
That's fine as killing.
Wait, hold on. So here's I'm trying to get some like clarification here. Like farting is one thing, right? But farting and then sending dick pics and then like grabbing is like those are like farting
different
is like,
realm.
Yeah, like farting is like, what the hell's wrong with you? This is like, dude, what? And then this is like a whole nother like,
yeah. Well, people talk about the farting because it's funny. Because like, imagine you're fucking financial officer running into the meeting and just fucking farting on it in full contact fart too. Like from what I understand, like he literally would like run up on people and just like boom, like toot on them. Like body contact.
Have you ever heard of a flying pancake?
Explains the game a lot.
No.
So what a flying pancake is whenever you run at someone like full sprint, jump, pop up, fart in their face, and stick the landing.
Well,
so
I think Riot knows a thing or two about flying pancakes. But,
right. So I had a friend in high school who attempted to hit a flying pancake on somebody. He had his athletic shorts on, and when he landed, he paused. And he was like, something's wrong. And he turns around and he looks down and he dropped a loaf about this big on the ground.
Jesus Christ.
S-Fan, you might be entitled to some compensation, my friend.
20K.
Dude, I got all the compensation I need at that point.
That sounds like a 10 million ordeal right there.
That's
Wait,
terrible.
has anyone ever heard of a Yokozuna?
What?
It's a wrestling move where you hold someone's face down, sit on them, and teabag them, and unleash a fart in their face.
Oh wait, I have heard of that.
Yeah.
Is that what Jake was doing?
Well, a couple of wrestlers have like basically gambled on the fart and lost, and just outright shit on a person.
And this is sumo shits, dude. This isn't like your average. This isn't your normie dookie. This is a man who's eating like what 8,000 calories a day. He's like,
Wait, this is a sumo wrestling, not a regular
No,
wrestling.
this is regular wrestling.
Ah.
Apparently, there's
What
this
was his
wrestler
name?
named
Rikishi.
Yokozuna who
Rikishi,
is like
yeah.
popularized this move.
But he brands himself as a sumo wrestler, but he's an American professional wrestler. In
There's
the
YouTube
WWE.
videos of this guy just ripping on people.
Dude,
Like-
not good.
But he looks like a sumo wrestler.
He does, yeah. He totally does.
All I'm saying is how it worked for Riot. Brush up against me and let one rip. I'm trying to get a bonus.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
Well, if
saying.
you're,
Well,
I
the
don't
one
know what's happening with the male employees in the company, but But the suit was for gender discrimination. But I think the culture there is so toxic that the men are probably entitled to some compensation as well. I don't know if they would, but
Generally, something like this, I mean, I can only imagine the company's only liable because it got reported to HR and HR did nothing about it.
That's right. Yeah. So that was a very big thing, and there was apparently like several instances of women bringing these topics to HR, and there weren't many executives, excuse me, that were women that were even addressing this, and there was like a whole culture of like sort of pushing this away, or so as the articles go. I worked really closely with Riot before. My experience is that the company is like super bureaucratic, and the culture is like really, really cool kids club. Like if you're not like in the certain in group, then it's like they brand themselves as like a horizontal organization where everyone's equal, but that hasn't been my experience at all.
for the record,
dude, that's
this is
always
just for, if I'm not mistaken, Devin, you can correct me, but this is just for gender discrimination.
That's right.
And there is still an ongoing suit, I believe, for I think there's a this is a class action for gender discrimination, but there's still an ongoing suit for like sexual harassment and whatnot. Like there are
Really?
additional suits on top of that, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That sounds crazy.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've told a lot of stories, but Riot Games has been one of the craziest places that I've ever like worked with. It was one of the only companies where like I remember this story one time where I was like trying to figure out how to get my players into like these shuttles, because they would hire these like Russian guys to drive shuttles around. They were always like kind of sketchy dudes, and they wouldn't like show up at random. So I was trying to find a player manager, which is like a Riot Games position, to try to figure out where these people had gone in their shuttle. And I asked a guy who was sitting on the ground who worked for Riot Games. It's like one of my first days there at Team Dignitas. And I was like, hey, like, do you know where the shuttles are? Like, we're trying to pick up our players. The guy literally told me to ask someone else. And so then I like walked around, and I'll speed it up. Like this, the end of the story goes, I ended up continuously going to other people with the title of player manager over and over again, and still not getting an answer. And at one point there was 11 people. There was 11 people with the title of player manager, all sitting around trying to figure out where the shuttle was. Like this, and because none of them had accountability or any kind of like cross-sectional communication, no one knew what was going on. And the end result was the guy literally just showed up on his own, and then everybody like started cheering and was like, "We did it." And I'm like, you guys didn't do anything. Like this guy just showed up. There's 11 people, and so now I call it the Riot washing machine, or the broken washing machine, because you throw an issue into it, it goes around, it comes out still dirty, nothing gets done.
Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, for the record, just for clarity, Riot still faces an ongoing investigation into concerns of sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and unequal pay between men and women at the company. And in June, the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing filed an enforcement action against Riot. So this is like a civil arbitration that took place already inside of the company through internal pressures, and then there's external pressure from the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing as well to release employee pay information, which Riot has not yet.
Yeah. Oh boy. You know, like there's gonna be a lot of bodies that are exhumed as like gaming starts to come up in the world, you know, like as we start to like get more regulations and stuff, like all this stuff is gonna come to light. There's a lot of weird stuff that game developers are doing.
Yeah, I agree. But also, obviously for this situation, I'm not referring to this, but I think we also need to be wary and hold some sort of oversight and have accountability, and make sure there is a sufficient amount of evidence and context for these situations, right? Like for this situation, obviously, it's not the case, but you know, there was a time 10 years ago where, you know, with the boys, if you're at the office, you fuck around, right? Like boys.
Fart on them.
But, you know, like obviously not the situation we're talking about, but like with the boys, you fuck around, you know, you say things, you do things, and then 10 years later, it's, you know, sensitive, frowned upon, and they bring it up, and then, you know, it's totally out of context, and, you know, there's, right, so like I think we need some sort of oversight here, otherwise, especially with seeing how these cases are turning out, where all of them are, you know, guilty, and even if they're not guilty, the effect, regardless of what the outcome is going to be negative for these people. There needs to be some accountability for situations like this. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing an uptick in people coming forward, especially if we, you know, get into like statistics such as like desperation and attention seeking, shit like that.
Well, one good rule of thumb, I think, and I've been doing this since day one, and I recommend others who actually end up leaving their mama's basement and actually getting a job to follow through on as well. Is just don't shit where you eat. And I mean that literally and figuratively. Like, don't fuck into your coworkers. True. Okay, you're always gonna get. It's always gonna end up terribly. So never do that. And also, if you are an executive at a company, don't fart on your employees. I think that's pretty.
Dude, that's where I'm fucking up. Fuck.
Yeah, just like don't fart on your fucking employees, because like that shit's definitely gonna get back to you. You know, you're gonna.
I gotta take a note. Okay, Hassan, we gotta talk, man. I gotta get better at this.
Did you fart on any of the CS:GO players when they were living in the house?
I cannot confirm nor deny any such allegations that are unsubstantiated.
I might be entitled to some money. That's all I know.
Hayes is coming for me, dude.
But